Vidhammer Fantasy.
Welcome back to Vidhammer. I'm Spudlow, and in this video I'm going over the painting of my Skaven Warlord. He's already been primed brown and then primed again with black. I start out with Hashit Copper and go over all of the metallic parts of his armor. I probably should have started with the fur color, but I didn't. Next up is Scrag Brown for the fur color, the tail, face, hands, and his back. I only do the base section of the tail because I know I'm going to be adding a lighter color to the end of the tail later on. With the fur done, I move on to bolt gun metal to paint his skirt, I guess, chainmail underskirt area, and his weapon as well. Next is Scorched Brown for the handle of the weapon and for the base coat of the shield as well. Then I move on to Dark Angel's Green. I decided to give him a copper and green color scheme since he's tends to be a bit warp lightning oriented as I run most of my armies, and him being the warlord, he should represent. Dark Angel's Green is always a difficult color. You have to thin it to just the right amount so that it won't go crazy, yet it'll still cover the areas you're working on. and it's quite unforgiving if you tend to paint outside of the lines. There's some camo green that I used to paint his sack, actually. Then I used some goblin green to paint the icon that he has hanging off of his belt. I figure it gives it a nice semi-warp stone look to it. Next is some lich purple that I use as the base coat for the medallion he's wearing. For the leather straps on his armbands and also going across his back and his belt, I use Valor Brown, as it's supposedly the closest to snakebite leather. Though I have to admit, I really do miss snakebite leather. It seemed just a little bit better of a color combination. His mouth is closed, but he does have one tooth sticking out, so I go ahead and use some bleach bone for that. Then we're on to washing with Agrax Earthshade. I start off going over basically everything but the fur color with Agrax Earthshade. I'm not overly generous in the portions that I use on the metal because I'm planning on coming back and doing another coat later on. Now for the flesh areas, in particular the face and the hands, I use Reichland Flesh Wash. Noticing now I don't think it was on camera when I used Tallarn Flesh to do the tail and the face. Now I go back over the metal parts with Athonian Camo Shade. It's to give it a little more of a green tint. With the washing done, I start highlighting the Dark Angel's green. this is going back over a dry brush of the same Dark Angel's green. It hasn't been lightened at all at first, but this just takes a little bit of the dirtiness back out of it. With the first coat done, I go back over the areas again, this time with a little bit of Skull White mixed in with the Dark Angel's green. I end up doing a third coat as well, where I add slightly more Skull White into it. But I don't overdo it. I try to make this a relatively subtle effect. Because after all, he's Skaven. That appearance stuff, it's not that important to him. Now I take the same effect with the Hachette copper that I have. Since I can't fully dry brush these areas without messing up a lot of the other paint, I have a small amount of paint on the brush, but still more than I would have if I was dry brushing. I just try to drag across the corners very carefully and just bring out the edges as much as I can. Then the same effect is applied to the metallic areas, using bolt gun metal once again. Then for a few of the details, some Gene Stealer purple, some more of the camo green for his sack, and scrag brown for the fur colors. For the tail, I use baller brown to give a bit of an in-between colors. We have a bit of a smooth transition. You could go through highlighting, trying to do each rung of his tail individually, but it's very time consuming, and since I'm not painting for a display case, but rather to have on the table, I go ahead and save as much time as I can. We're back with some scrag brown for the shield. And that about does it. There he is, Warlord, ready to be put on top of the Bonebreaker. He already has the magnets underneath his feet. Hope you liked this video, and check back for more. Till next time, keep painting.